Hey guys, welcome back. So today's viewer question is from BCM Wolverine, and he's thinking about getting a small camper, and he wants to know if he can tow it with his 2006 Crown Vic LX. So right off the bat, I have zero experience towing. So what I've done is I've turned this into a collaboration, and I've enlisted the help of two gentlemen who I consider subject matter experts on towing, based on what I've seen them do on their channels. And they are WJ Handydad and Mr. Black 947. So I've asked them to put together a video based on their experience on what you should know before you get into towing with your vehicle. So I'll put a link down to their videos down below, and I recommend you stop watching this video and watch their videos, because theirs is going to be based on real-world actual experience. And my video, I'm going to treat this as if I was interested in towing, and I'm going to present what I've learned during my research if I was going to outfit one of my Panthers to tow a small trailer. So first, I'll go over what the owner's manual says. Second, I'll go over equipment recommendations. Third, I'll go over laws and regulations. And fourth, I'll put together a little weight calculation of my 04 Crown Vic on how to estimate your weights. And before we get into it, I did a poll a few days ago. And in this poll, I asked you guys this question: towing with a Crown Vic. And in the first 20 hours of voting, we had 40 votes, and 2 people said it is not advisable, and 22 of you guys said it can be done with proper equipment and training, and 14 of you said just buy a truck, you cheapskate. So I want to thank you guys for voting. It really helps me put these videos together. Okay, so real quick, I think everybody knows this. When you start towing, it's going to put you in that special operating condition, and so you're going to need to change your transmission fluid every 30,000 miles. And pretty much all your maintenance is going to be on an accelerated schedule towing. Okay, so I'm going to read just a few lines in this of what I found in here about trailer towing. And it says, and this, by the way, this is the owner's manual from BCM Wolverine's 2006 Crown Victoria. So on here it says, trailer towing. Your vehicle is classified as a light-duty towing vehicle. And then it says here, your loaded trailer should weigh no more than 2,000 pounds. And I thought that was a little odd, because it sounds that doesn't sound like too much. And based on the research that I did, I saw a lot of comments from people saying that the older Vics, like the Aero Vics and the Box Vics, had a towing capacity of 5,000 pounds. So what I did is I pulled the owner's manual for a 96 Crown Victoria, and this is on page 191, and it says in here, your vehicle is classified as a light-duty towing vehicle. The amount of weight that you can safely tow depends on the optional equipment on your vehicle. See the following chart. And then it lists trailer towing specifications, and it's got this little chart here. It says, if your vehicle's engine size is 4.6 liter and you are towing with a Class 3 hitch and a Class 3 trailer, your loaded trailer weight should weigh no more than 5,000 pounds. So that seems to be true for the older Vics, and I was trying to find an answer why that rating dropped so dramatically from 5,000 pounds to 2,000 pounds. And I've come up with 2 possible answers why that would be. The number one reason is Ford just wants to reduce liability from people overloading their trailers and getting into an accident. And the second reason I came up with is if they derate the towing capacity on their cars, maybe they'll sell more F-150s. So who knows? I really don't know why they derated it, and so keep that in mind. Okay, so back to more specifications. This is from BCM Wolverine's 2006 manual. It says on here the GCW, and that stands for gross combined weight, and that means the weight of your towing vehicle and the trailer should not exceed 6,600 pounds. And going back to the 1996 model year, I'm going to say that was around 9,600 pounds, 4,600 pounds for the car and 5,000 pounds for that trailer. And another little good tidbit of information in here is hitches. You must distribute the load in your trailer so that 10 to 15% of the total weight of the trailer is on the tongue. And down here, here's another little disclaimer. It says the braking system of the tow vehicle is rated for operation at the gross vehicle weight rating, not gross combined vehicle weight rating. So what that means is they're trying to say that the brakes on your Crown Vic are designed to work with a fully loaded car and not with a fully loaded car towing a trailer. So keep that in mind too. And here's another little tip I think is a good idea. It says, after you have traveled 50 miles, thoroughly check your hitch, electrical connections for the brake lights, and trailer wheel lug nuts. And here's another couple tips. It says, when towing a trailer, turn off the cruise control. The cruise control may shut off automatically when you are towing on a long, steep grade. So I did some research on that, and I found a lot of comments saying that when you're on flat, level ground towing, it's okay to use the cruise control. But as soon as you get into hilly terrain, you want to turn that cruise control off. And here's one that says, consult your local motor vehicle speed regulations for towing a trailer. More on that later. And this one is very important too. It says, to eliminate excessive shifting, use a lower gear. This will also assist in transmission cooling. And what this means is I found a lot of people saying in the comments of videos I watched that when you're towing, again, when you're towing on flat, level ground with no headwind, it's okay to use the cruise control. Or no, it's okay to use overdrive, but as soon as the terrain gets hilly, and to prevent the transmission from shifting from third to fourth gear and back down to third gear, you want to turn the overdrive off and just drive it in third gear. And here's another tip I like. It says once you get all loaded up, you want to practice turning, stopping, and backing up before starting a trip to get the feel of the vehicle-trailer combination. When turning, make wider turns so the trailer wheels will clear curbs and other obstacles. Okay, so now I want to talk about the different types of equipment that would be recommended that I looked up for my car. So on the about hitches, they said you would recommend a Class 3 hitch, and that's going to be the middle of the road hitch that is going to be rated for 5,000 pounds, and it's just the biggest, strongest hitch you can get for the Crown Vic. Okay, the next piece of equipment is, this goes back to the tongue weight. it's critical that your tongue weight is 10 to 15% of the total weight of the trailer. So how are you supposed to know what the tongue weight is? So I researched that, and I found there's 4 ways to figure out your tongue weight. And the number one easiest and most accurate way was to buy a tongue weight scale, and this is what it looks like right here. And these cost $130, and they said that you could fit it in your glove box. So I suppose you're supposed to load up your trailer and then set the hitch on this, and that'll tell you the tongue load. And they were saying the second, third, and fourth ways might involve visiting a weigh station or your local trash dump to figure out the weights. And those weigh scales, they charge $10 to $15 each time you weigh it. So after a couple of trips, it's possible that this scale might pay for itself. Okay, so the next piece of equipment is going to be rear air shocks. Now this right here is a traditional air shock. What it does is it just replaces your factory shock, and it's got a little Schrader valve here so you can inflate it for anywhere from 20 psi to 150 psi. And what that's going to let you do is when you're not towing, you'll be able to deflate the shock, and the car will ride at a level ride height. But when you hook up that tongue weight on the trailer, it's going to make the rear end sag, and so using these shocks, it will help pump it up level to increase your stability while you're towing, so you don't bottom out when you hit a bump. And I found these go for around $100 or $200 a pair. And then what I found is this specifically made for Crown Vics and other vehicles, and it's basically an airbag system. It comes with these little air bladders, and you install these inside the spring, and they do the same thing as those air jacks. You can pump them up, and what they do is it increases the resistance of the spring to increase that ride height and give you a firmer ride to make the ride height level. And I got a picture of where those install. So the first shock that I showed you is this thing right here, and you would replace that if you got the first kind. And on my vehicle, my shocks are okay right now. They don't need to be replaced, so I don't think I'd want to replace a good shock with that air shock. I would probably opt for this device here. It goes inside the spring, so I'm adding to the spring instead of replacing a good part. So I think this is pretty neat. I've never seen this before. It goes right inside the spring, and then you hook up the lines and you can pump them up. Okay, now this is going to be critical in my opinion, because BCM Wolverine has a civilian model. He doesn't have the transmission fluid cooler that the P71s have. So this right here is an auxiliary transmission cooler, and it costs $72.80. And I read there's 43 5-star reviews on this device, and I read some pretty good comments from a guy who installed a temperature probe to see that it was actually working. And he said when he got this, it actually lowered his transmission fluid temperatures by as much as 50 to 100 degrees when towing, based on ambient temperature conditions. And so this is very important if you're going to be towing, to keep your transmission fluid to prevent it from overheating. Okay, and the last two pieces that might be worth taking a look at are extended tow mirrors that you can put on your mirrors out here so you can see what's behind you when you're towing. And another thing is wheel chocks. If you've got to park the trailer on some unlevel ground, you're really asking too much of the car, of the parking pawl and the parking brake on your car. So it's probably a good idea to get some wheel chocks to chock the wheels of the trailer so it doesn't roll away. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is laws and regulations. So depending on what jurisdiction you live in and what jurisdiction you're traveling to, the laws and regulations regarding towing are going to change. So it's probably a good idea to look those up. And so what I did is I tried to look them up in my state, my home state, and I really only found two that that I want to mention. The first one, it says, no person shall drive a vehicle towing a trailer over 55 miles an hour. So usually our speed limit is 65, and then some places it's 70 or 75. But regardless of the speed limit, any vehicle towing a trailer can only go 55 miles an hour. And this is a really weird one. I have a feeling this was written probably 50 years ago. And it says, no motor vehicle under 4,000 pounds shall tow any vehicle 6,000 pounds or more. Okay, so now I want to show you how to get an estimated weights of your vehicle, of your curb weight, and all that stuff. So there's curb weight, there's gross vehicle weight, there's payload weight, and gross combined weight. So the curb weight is the weight of your vehicle with a full tank of gas and no passengers or luggage. So basically just sitting there unloaded. And gross vehicle weight is your car with fully loaded with passengers and luggage. And the payload rating is the weight of your passengers and luggage. And your gross combined vehicle weight is the gross vehicle weight of your car fully loaded and the trailer combined. So before you tow, you really need to find out what your curb weights are, because that'll dictate how much you can carry and how much you can tow. So this right here is the Federal Motor Safety label in the door jamb in my 04 Vic, and it's got a lot of good information on here. So the first thing I want to show you is the gross vehicle weight rating. On my car, it's 5,800 pounds. And it even breaks it up between the two axles, front and rear. So front is 2,700 and rear is 3,100. And the next thing on here is the payload, and that's maximum load. And it defines occupants and luggage is 1,100 pounds. And that's that. So how you get an estimated calculation of your curb weight is you take your GV here, 5,800 pounds, and you subtract your payload, which is 1,100 pounds. So that means my estimated curb weight is 4,700 pounds. Now, when I get in the driver's seat, that's going to bump it up to 5,000. Now, let's just say this car had a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. That would put 2,500 pounds on the front axle and 2,500 pounds on the rear axle. So that means my rear maximum capacity is 3,100 pounds. So that means I can only load up the rear axle with 600 more pounds before I go over the limit. And I also looked at my tires, and my tire max load is 1,600 pounds per tire. So that puts me at 3,200 pounds. So my tires have the proper load rating to carry that 3,100. So now let's do this example. Say I'm towing a trailer that's 5,000 pounds. The tongue load is going to be 10 to 15%, so that could be as much as 750 pounds. So my rear axle curb weight is 2,500 pounds, and I'm going to add that tongue weight of 750. So that means now my rear axle is at 3,250. So that means I'm 150 pounds overloaded on the rear axle, and I haven't even added the wife in the passenger seat, the two kids in the back seat, and I haven't even loaded the trunk with the ice chest and the picnic basket. So that's how critical it is to know how much you're loading your vehicle with. Okay, so one last thing before we go, I want to read this comment. And I found this comment on a video called What to Know About Towing. And I'm going to read this pretty fast. Actually, I'm not going to read this. I'm going to post this down in the description because it's awful long. But basically what this guy is saying is do your research before you start towing, because if you don't, you're possibly going to run into some safety issues. Okay, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.